You are watching Xirtus.
Battery in legal terms and psychological terms. Are we just talking about reality here and how your
Yeah, yeah,
ego should
yeah. I
feel,
mean, of
or
course.
and then whether or
Like
not
let's say
vengeance
someone
is
comes up to me. Let's say someone comes up to me and starts a fight with me, and what I do is I manage to subdue them without harming them. Like, is that me
You're
winning a
the dog
fight? Do
whisperer.
I do I have to harm them? No, but I mean, like, of course there is that sort of. I've developed that over the
but then
years of
well, so
just
you
I can
subdued
talk my
them.
way out of any aggressive.
You
Pardon?
subdued them, and then you have to let them go at some point, unless you're leaving them hogtied. So then, what's when you
Yeah,
say,
yeah, but
are
even
you
even
eventually
just
then
like
fleeing from that? And the question is
even
that person
even if you
going to
just
come?
even if you just dodge their attacks, until they stop, is that
So
you
like
Yeah.
winning a fight?
Obi-Wan Kenobi technically won that fight, right? You're taking the higher 5D chess game
No,
route
no,
when you
no,
do
no.
that.
You're talking about I'm talking about like literally someone assaults you,
Yeah,
and
you're
then
talking about from like
instead
an
of getting
evolutionarily biological standpoint. Elephants, they will charge at each other, and they never actually engage in
okay, look. Here's my
battle
hypothetical.
because
Okay, I
it's
mean it's
not
actually happened.
advantageous. You understand? It's not advantageous ever, whether you win a fight or lose a
Yeah,
fight.
yeah, yeah.
In the
I
wild,
agree.
as soon as you're injured and you fall off from the herd, you get eaten.
Right, right, right. But what I'm talking about specifically, the context is I've been in mosh pits where I push a really, really big guy and he falls over and then he gets mad and he starts trying to attack me with elbows and punches. And then
Sure.
I just push away all his punches and manage to not get hit. Like, and then he just stops because he realizes he can't actually hit me.
I mean,
Like,
first of all, that's pretty badass. That you
It's Wu Wei.
quite questionable that
Yeah.
you continue to go back to places like that and that guy anyway. But no, but what I would say, like again, in nature, losing a fight
yeah, yeah.
doesn't even really come into it because eventually you become old and then you fall off from the pack and everything in nature. I learned this when I went to Africa and they were explaining, no, everything dies in the jaws of another animal that's eating it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not how
So,
we experience life.
Wait,
And so
is
like
this when you
winning a
well,
fight, losing a
are you
fight, I mean,
talking
I
about
don't
when
know.
you're did this happen
But
when you're an adult? Like I haven't been in a fight since I was like fucking 17 years old. So it's
yeah,
like
I took karate as a youngin and my sensei was very specific about the fact that, you know, you're
I
being
just
taught
I think it's
yeah, you could kill someone basically.
for
yeah,
Even
me
if it
I
wasn't
without a
really
weapon.
true, he wasn't teaching us all that fancy stuff, but the mindset, the discipline to no, as soon as you can run away, you run away.
I just had to I was stuck in a group home full of like just inner city kids of a certain demographic. I was like the only
Mm.
Asian kid there. And every day it was fucking bullshit. And these kids were huge. Like these were like some men,
Yeah.
like they were like all supposedly like 16, 17. They didn't look 16 or 17. Some of them like they were bragging about like, yeah, I stabbed kids since I was like 11 years old because I was like born into a set. Could have been bullshit. I don't know. I didn't fucking care. But
No, there are
that
people
was
who,
like
yeah, no, they
I
the neighborhood condones the violence because like if someone's picking on an 11-year-old and it's an adult and they're doing weird shit to them and you like kill that person, everyone was like, okay, but then like that happens to you two or three times and then yeah,
yeah,
what
but
gets worked
as
into
an
your nervous system is that it's okay to do things like that or
but if you're an adult, I feel like you could just like shoot people who assault you, just get a
Yeah.
gun. I mean,
That's what
I'm in
Mike
New York.
Tyson
I
said.
can't, yeah, just get a
He
fucking
said
gun and
he used to fight people in the streets. Like he used to get road rage, and then he would fight people, and then now he's just like, yeah, people are strapped. There's no reason
but are
to
you
fight. Like,
shooting them to injure them or maim them and is it a 22 or a 45 and
I don't know.
self
I don't think that
defense.
matters, dude. Yeah, it's just self
and as
defense,
soon as you
Like,
pull out your gun though you have to try to kill that person because if you're saying everyone has a gun then it doesn't matter
yeah,
whether you're aiming at his foot with a 22 he's going to aim at your
no,
head.
no, you aim
Yeah, yeah,
square
but
at
it's
math.
Mike Tyson coming. He's so if Mike Tyson's coming at you, Mike Tyson doesn't
You
need a
run
gun.
away, my friend. Again, you run away.
You're in a car, like you crashed
And if
into
you don't
Mike
think you're
Tyson.
gonna have the chance again if you're worried about losing consciousness and then him stomping your skull into the pavement, then like it's lights out and your life is over. And so you run away as quickly as possible. And then if you get in a
Right.
scrap and you have the slightest moment where you make a couple offensive moves, again, like the sensei's discipline was then okay, it's now your job to try to flee again. And if you're really not able to flee, then you have my permission to use everything I've taught you to inflict maximum damage on the person that you're fighting with. And when
Oh yeah, yeah.
I did Kempo karate, and it was non-contact sparring. There's a lot of other
I was
types of martial
watching.
arts that are very high
I was
contact
watching.
sparring.
I was watching a bunch of like martial arts movies recently, and I was realizing I expected martial arts to be a way bigger part of our lives as a kid,
They
right?
were. They should have been.
Like Cobra Kai is exactly what I thought the real world would be like when I was 6 to 10. I thought that everyone in America would know because in the 80s and like every mall you had jazzercise and karate. I just assumed every American would have to be, every person in the world would have to be like really good at karate by 2025, obviously.
The thing is, that there's really two classes of people, fighters and non-fighters, and they have their own hierarchies and their own value structures within fighting that don't apply to non-fighters. Like a non-fighter doesn't care if they're the biggest, strongest guy in the world, but the fighter will, in the room even. Like there's something psychologically that a lot of fighters go like, and I don't mean like martial artists, I mean fighters, like people who are aggressive and who actually will be like, hey man, like let's fight each other for fun. Like let's fight each other to measure each other as opposed to survive.
That's some base brain amygdala stuff. I don't know.
There are people like that. Like look at people like Sean Strickland, for example.
Is matching each other's strength. It's called going one for one. And I had a couple friends that when they would get fucked up, they would go out in the backyard because everyone would say, "Look, you're not doing this in my house," and they would go out back and they would trade one for one. Usually it was neck and below, but sometimes they would go above the neck. Just to... Now
it's slap fighting, so
it's like. And then they were best. They would come back in and drink more beer together and smoke more weed together. It wasn't one of these.
It's. Charts. I think it's because fighters have a language that non-fighters don't have, and it's the language of the fist. There's literally a dialogue that goes on between fighters that is a measurement of their philosophy and their total application of their lived philosophy. So if you are a martial artist, by measurement of other martial artists, you can be like, wow, your values suck. I can beat you and like actually escape without getting harmed.
I don't think,
and that's martial arts mindset.
I don't think.
You're fighting for the glory of your dojo to prove that your master taught you the best techniques.
I don't think I ever.
That's the philosophy applied to the dojo is the embodiment of that philosophy that the martial.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I don't think I ever practiced martial arts to like get good at like fighting people. I think the most benefits I've ever gotten from martial arts were always like self-cultivation. It's
that's the application of your philosophy. That's what makes you a better person and a better fighter and a better everything.
The few times that I actually did win, I was fighting really dirty. I would punch people in the throats. I would like kick him in the dick. I would like do all sorts of nasty shit. That's how you fucking win.
Well, what do they teach women to do if they're being raped?
Yeah, like poke him in the eye, go for vitals.
Yes.
Like that's what you're supposed to do.
It's not a poke. No, you're not poking their eye. You're immediately using your fingers as a weapon to try to push them as far into that person's skull as you can to end the fight. Because then they can't see you and you're going to run away.
Sure.
You're not going to have to live having lived with killing someone.
They did train women to be. They did train women to be like nasty, violent fighters, and like in the 90s, it was like
stabbing. For a time, fighting was people standing in a line with rifles and shooting at another group of people standing in a line. Yes. Like this is like the honor system that is peculiar to each culture and to each specific. But when you get to another culture that doesn't share the same ideas of honor and discipline and all this stuff, well, you have to adapt to that. You can't just be like, oh, they're using dirty tactics, but we won't because we're going to stand in line and like.
But you were just saying that the fists are a language, my friend, right? And so the idea is that we're not fighting each other; it's our styles fighting each other, and hopefully we can like learn something and bring it back to headquarters to say when you fight someone from this school. And then the sensei won't take on students if they don't think they will represent their style well. But again, when men in America are teaching women to defend themselves, there's no honor system. There's no honor code, as you're saying.